Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Travel, life, and fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go.
You're listening to the Life Adventurous Podcast, presented by SayWHA Radio.
Welcome to the Life Adventurous Podcast. I'm Jenny, your host, and today we are going to spend some time chatting about the currencies of life. So here recently, I've been spending a lot of time researching and learning and expanding and growing, looking into a lot of different life events, world events. Been watching some videos that are pretty interesting and out there. You know, I watch a little bit about like history of government and some stuff that's talking about conspiracy theories, some stuff about aliens, some stuff about energy. Like, I've just been watching some different stuff. I like digging in and dipping my toes in, stuff like that. Occasionally it comes in spurts, and been having some pretty vivid dreams. And it's interesting, like, okay, yeah, you could say that some of the stuff I've been watching has been leading to the vivid dreams for sure. But I've also seen a lot of headlines and podcasts talking about why your dreams are more vivid right now. And I didn't listen or read any of those, but if I had to guess and really talk about why, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the reasons is because right now it's like we're in a heightened state of emotion all of the time, and even like a lot of uncertainty about where our lives are heading, what we want, what's going on with the pandemic, like what's going on with a lot of things in our life, you know, our jobs, our families, our kids going to school. Like, there's just so many things going on that are really like shaking our feathers up, right? So it's likely that we're having more vivid dreams right now because of all of this heightened emotion. But the reason I brought that up is because here recently, what I do is I keep a pad of paper right next to my bed so that way, if I'm like working on something in my brain while I'm sleeping or in the morning or whatever, I can either capture a dream, I can capture an idea, I can capture whatever it is. Especially if it happens in the middle of the night, because I like my sleep and I want to go back to sleep. And so if I can get that out of my brain, that really helps me make sure I get the rest that I need to be able to rejuvenate my body, have enough energy. And I really want to do what I can to take care of my immune system, especially right now. Anyways, so last night, and actually I guess this morning, I was working on something in my brain, and I was thinking about this idea of talking about the currency of life, and really just thinking about how we spend our time on this earth. If you talk about the currencies of life, I feel like you really are just down to time and money. However, I'd like to add a third one in, and that's love. But let's break it down a little bit here. So every day we have the opportunity to choose how we want to spend our time. The levers can be, or, you know, the dials can be turned up or down on certain aspects. Now, granted, when it comes to time, you can't really turn the lever up or down because we all have the same amount of time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. However, maybe the way that we view time, or the way that we set up our schedules, or the way that we manage our time, which really, that's a whole nother topic about time management. It's a term that I think is important, but at the same time, I think it's a misnomer. So you can kind of turn the dial a little bit on time, because if you look at how you spend your days, you can always choose to spend them differently. And then if you look at the lever of money, you know, you have more money, less money, like you can turn that up. And I know that when you think of like or for me at least, when I think of like the general public, there's a lot of people who believe like, no, I can't turn my money up. Like, this is all that I'm making. This is all that I have. I can't get more. But that's just not true, because in the universe, with energy, like attracts like. And so if that's your belief that there is no more money or abundance available to you, or there isn't a better way, then that will not show up for you. The opportunities won't be presented, or if they are presented, you're going to be completely closed off to them or unaware. But even when it comes to abundance, sometimes you really want something, right? And it's almost like you want it too much and you're expecting it so much you're holding on too tight. Since I play softball, I talk about when you're up to bat and you're hitting and you're gripping the softball bat. And when you're up to bat, and now I play slow pitch, and this would likely be the same for fast pitch, but it especially applies for slow pitch, is when you're up to bat and if you're really trying really hard and you're gripping the bat like as tight as you can and you swing, you're likely going to pop up or not get a hit, not do very well, and be frustrated. But if you're willing to take that deep breath and loosen your grip on the bat and relax, the ball's going to go even further and even harder. And I feel like it's the same with life. When it comes to how we want to show up in the world and how we're going to interact, we get to choose how tight our grip is. And the idea of the currency of life, I was just thinking here recently, is with the pandemic, with our lives changing, and this applies pandemic or non-pandemic, but especially when things are heightened in our life and things are very, I guess it's like the unknown or uneasy or discombobulated, whatever that is. And honestly, nothing really in life is guaranteed anyways, but we do have a sense of comfort and a sense of knowing in our regular lives, in our day-to-day lives, like, oh, I know where I'm headed and this is the direction I'm going, but of course anything can come and throw us off course at any time. But for sake of conversation, if you talk about the pandemic and what's going on, or really anything that throws you off course, you feel like, okay, what direction am I going? You feel like out of sorts. And I bring this up because you literally can go anywhere you want, but of course it's about time and money, right? So if you've got a job taking up all your time, is that a lever that you can turn right now? If you have a job that's paying you a certain amount of money, or you have a business paying you a certain amount of money, is that a lever you can turn? But sometimes we want to turn them both. So for example, some things that you want in life are not going to come instantly. Even though we want instant gratification, not everything's going to arrive that way. So we'd want to speed up time and say, oh my God, bring it here, bring it here, bring it here. And in some scenarios, you can speed up time with money, because think about, for example, if there is a solution that you want for your life, whether it be in business, your life, or health, or whatever, spirituality, you can speed up time by paying for a program, paying for a coach, paying for a solution, right? So you can use money to be able to get that result faster, to be able to reduce the learning curve, to be able to avoid any obstacles that others have learned how to overcome so that you can get there faster, right? So you can turn up that dial for time, but you're also going to turn up the dial for money to be able to get that result. And I feel that sometimes we're trying so hard, or we want something so bad that we're trying to turn those dials, right? Like turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Or, oh, I'm going to spend more money, or I need more money, right? And we become very like that bat, right? Where we're gripping so tight on the bat that I started thinking in my dream, when I was dreaming about this, is what about the currency of love? What about the power of us moving from the brain, the mental space, which in a lot of spiritual teachings, a lot of times when it comes to the mind, a lot of times that's attached to the ego. So what if we're moving that energy into our heart and leading with our heart? Then the question is the currency of life, or the currencies of life, still time and money? And really, I think that for a lot of us, that's the journey. That's the journey to get to the place, to get to the currency of life that is love, because then you are operating from your heart space and following your intuition, and you are leading with that high vibrational energy in your life, that the currencies become less focused on time and money being the ones that you constantly have to try to figure out how to do. That reduces the stress, that reduces the frustration with trying to manage those currencies. Because isn't that what we're trying to do sometimes, is just manage those two currencies? How do I get more time? How do I get more money? I mean, honestly, do you ever hear people say, how do I get less time or less money? That's probably pretty rare. Like, everybody wants more time and more money. And there's so much emphasis and so much focus placed on those two currencies. And I think even more so, especially in corporate, because in a corporate type of job or a corporate type of setting, a lot of times it's how can they get more from you for less money? Think about negotiations with HR or the hiring manager or whatever. It's about how can they get the absolute best bang for their buck? How can they get someone who's willing to give this company everything, their life, their soul, their time, everything for the least amount of money? And so with this podcast, this was more of a philosophical type of conversation to really just encourage you to take a look at your own life and see what currencies you're focusing on, and to begin to ask yourself, how can you shift the focus from the currencies of time and money to the currency of love? How can you really shift your focus to that heart space? How can you lead with your heart and your intuition and your higher self so that you can feel abundant with time and money? And I think that's really the journey. That's the journey that a lot of us are on. And these are the words that I'm using to describe this journey on today's podcast, on today's episode. And they may not be the words that you describe it with. There may be other words that resonate with you, but really just think about it. Because if I really take a reflection on my own life and everything we're trying to do and create and attract with SayWHA, sometimes I get into that tight grip on the bat where I really want things to happen. And I'm like, oh my God, how can we spend more money, or how can we make this go faster? And sometimes the lessons or the experiences or the things that we want are not always the things that we want. It's kind of like a tongue twister there. Like sometimes we think we want something and that's not really what's best for us. And or sometimes we're not ready for the thing that we're craving for so much. And or sometimes we have an energetic block that's not allowing that to be attracted to us and be manifested. Because you can say all the words in the world, but if you're not in your heart energy, in your heart center, and really deep down through and through, standing for what you're grateful in now and attracting and really stepping into the you of the future, it's really like, I think I saw this saying, and I don't remember the exact words, but it's basically like the you of today, like what you're doing today is the you of the future. Because whatever you're doing today is what your future is going to hold. Whatever you're focusing on right now is the you that you're going to see in a few weeks, few months, in a year. So it's like the seed you're planting today is the most important. So what's your life looking like? What are your currencies? How are you spending your time? And how can you shift into that energy of love? See you next episode. Thank you for listening to the Life Adventurous podcast. If you love this episode, remember to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. For course information, freebies, and to stay connected, join our Ohana, that means family, at www.2jhala.com/Ohana. Remember to stay positive, enjoy the journey, and most of all, keep those eyes open for all of the adventures surrounding you.